We have Urvashi Jairaj with us, who's going to read Sagittarius Woman. She has read the book before, so I'm going to ask her a few quick, candid questions. Urvashi ji, thank you so much for being with us and doing this with us. Tell me, you have read this book before, and I do remember getting a call from your son Sujay and telling me that as a family you all read the book together and you all had some good family joyous moments. Tell me the highlights out of Sagittarius Woman that you have read. What may have hit you most in terms of fact finding via the book?
I think it's, when I was reading it, I really could see myself in it. It's unbelievable that it's so true.
But, I have said that the aggressive Sagittarius woman apparently has the highlight in the book and talks more and more about the aggressive kind. You seem the most likable woman known around in this part of town. I think in most of the city in Bombay. We have friends of yours who always praise you and talk highly about you. And it is also true because this is what my wife and I also think about you. So you fall under the passive kind, or what do you think? Please explain to me.
Absolutely passive, yes. I think so. And frankly speaking, I have not even met many of these aggressive Sagittarians.
So here's a woman who sees niceness in everyone apparently. Also wanted to check with you, in one of my chapters, I've said that she's always keen on expanding her wealth for knowledge, and she's always bursting with questions. Have you probably observed yourself being like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I always want to see new things and learn new things.
Oh, nice. Good to hear that. Urvashi ji is also an author and written a book called Living with Bonsai. I have the privilege of having that book copy with me, and it's a fabulous book for anybody who likes nature and want to know more about bonsais. So please do pick up a copy. And thank you, Urvashi ji, for being with us.
Thank you so much, Chetan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sagittarius Women, 23rd November to 21st December. Sagittarius Women. Sagittarian women can be defined with 3 F's: funny, focused, and fierce. They come with a terrific sense of humor that's impossible to resist. A typical Sagittarian will need and create smiles and laughter in every detail of life, and will instantly spread the mirth with her powerful word of mouth. A compulsive chatterer and impish to the core, she can dare to do the unexpected and live on her own terms, no matter how unconventional they may be. More likely, she will startle you, sometimes out of your wits, with her non-conformist statements and outrageous logic or just plain mimicry, thereby making sure you don't forget her for a long time to come. Ever keen on expanding her wealth of knowledge, the Sagittarian girl will be bursting with questions and often poke her inquisitive nose on places where it doesn't belong. She's practical and far-sighted to the extent of keeping a larder full of goodies. She loves food and a study table full of interesting books. Remember her quest for knowledge, for those long rainy afternoons. But books are not enough to satiate this girl. She's ever ready to go on a backpacking trip, for no one loves travel more than the Sagittarian. The world is my book, and Mother Nature my teacher. That's the quintessential Sagittarian woman. How can you identify a Sagittarian woman in a crowd? See that woman striving to be the center of attraction, chatting with the most handsome man, hanging out with the prettiest girls, and being loud in her laughter and with her words. That's her, the chatty and naughty Sagittarius woman. Of course, this description does not hold true for the 35% of passive Sagittarian women. But for the rest, it's a fairly accurate account. This reminds me of an interesting incident. My parents once came back from a party, regaling me with the wonderful experiences they had there. They then went on to describe this peculiar girl who eavesdropped on their conversation and then butted in unannounced with her opinion on the subject. At first, my parents ignored her, but later they noticed her doing the same thing with many guests. Having asked her the sun sign she belonged to, they quizzed me on the same, knowing my hobby, and what I would have thought if I was present there. With a few more details of their conversation with her, in less than a minute, I arrived at my answer. Sagittarius. My mom and dad started grinning at that. My guess was right on target. Some Sagittarian females will talk their way into conversations where they don't even belong. For some reason, they enjoy minding other people's business as much as their own. At the same time, they are great people at heart, warm, friendly, and compassionate, but have no control over their tongues. I sometimes feel the saying, putting one's foot in the mouth, was invented solely for them. Now, for the passive kind of Sagittarian, who's almost the exact opposite of the aggressive kind. She's usually more graceful, speaks when spoken to, and would share her opinion or suggestion only if asked, unlike her aggressive counterpart. What are the key features of her personality? The female Sagittarian is known to be an impressive lady who knows how to charm her way into the hearts of those who cross her path. This may be the direct result of her ability to break into conversation at the drop of a hat. In certain scenarios, this backfires for the archer, since her tactless, friendly banter may often be misconstrued as encroachment on other people's time and thoughts. Of course, this trait is somewhat subdued in the passive kind of Sagittarian woman. Natural leaders, something that probably stems from the desire to be appreciated. Women of this sign seem to have mastered the art of edging others to do things even when they exhibit resistance to the same. They inspire others with their consistent looking at the world through rose-colored glasses attitude and act as motivators and initiators. Outgoing by nature, a Sagittarian woman is forthright in expressing her point of view, something that doesn't always go down well with her audience. She, however, never utters anything to intentionally cause harm to people around, but her blunt statements and off-the-cuff remarks can easily irk others. At the same time, she is extremely appreciative of others, being very liberal with compliments where due. This woman is one possessive associate, be it a relative, a friend, or a lover. She is extremely possessive and easily gets ticked off and goes green for the smallest of reasons. Make a deliberate attempt at making her jealous, and you'll surely be sleeping on the couch for the night. The Sagittarian woman loves indulging in various activities that suit her fancy, with shopping being a major splurging area. A big spender, she's surprisingly also good at saving and stashing away some mullah to fall back on in days of adversity. If you're dating a Sagittarian woman, be prepared to be mothered and showered with gifts with other surprises from time to time. How is she on the following aspects? Appearance. Sagittarius women sport a prominent jawline. I have found 7 out of 10 Sagittarians to be extremely pretty looking with sharp features. They have a great sense of style and fashion and carry off even the most unconventional garbs with elan. Ambition. Generally, both kinds of Sagittarius women are extremely ambitious, whether aggressive or passive. A Sagittarius woman likes new challenges and is usually happy and content when she has a meaty role or responsibility in her work profile. In a job scenario, growth and titles are important to her. If she's an entrepreneur, she will study the competition in the market and accordingly add more value to her products or services. If unable to meet her targets, a Sagittarian woman will not shy of using her charm and persuasiveness to achieve her targets. Moreover, she has to excel at every task at hand. Conscious of her self-image, an aggressive Sagittarian can go to any extent to protect her public persona. The passive kind can be content with whichever way the tide turns and usually isn't out to prove a point to anyone but herself. Ego and self-respect. The aggressive Sagittarian woman has high quotient of ego, smarting at even the slightest attack on her self-respect. The passive kind would score high on self-respect and moderate on ego. Responsibility. An undeniable quality that Sagittarius women possess is their extremely responsible and dependable nature. A Sagittarian female is also usually very organized and fairly meticulous. Since she likes challenges at the work front, if you periodically dare her, you will be pleasantly surprised to see her meet up to those challenges with renewed vigor. Etiquettes. Regarding etiquettes, the passive Sagittarian woman seems to be more conscious and often bothered by lack of decorum on others. The aggressive kind expect others to follow some norms, while they can be casual and laid back about them at times. What is her approach towards life? Both the aggressive and the passive kind of Sagittarian women show distinctly different stances towards life. The passive Sagittarian appears more content with life. She has moderate expectations and tends to be more independent-minded than the other. The aggressive kind is somewhat materialistic and egocentric, because of which she wants more from life and is not easily satisfied with what she has. Both kinds are emotional and sentimental, but the degree of being emotional is rather high in the passive kind. Both are also dreamers and great believers, not just in their dreams, but also in ideals of life. The aggressive Sagittarian girl is realistic but not very practical, while the passive kind can be both. While the passive Sagittarius woman is capable of molding herself in the roles of a follower as well as a leader if the situation demands. The aggressive one will definitely vie for the leader's position. She will follow only if she's sure she's next in line for becoming the boss. How does she score on the following points? Cynicism. On the whole, 30% Sagittarian women are cynical. Most of their cynicism is because of their emotional needs or their ambition. They can be extremely stubborn at times, thereby making regular unpleasant situations seem like personal cynical problems, which very often borders on the unreasonable. Suspicion and jealousy. I've noticed that the passive Sagittarian female is more relaxed and laid back on these counts, but the aggressive kind is suspicious of most things under the sun, from a friend's motive to her spouse's move. Don't be surprised if you find your Sagittarian girlfriend snooping around your personal things such as computer files, diaries, mobile phones, etc. That's just her. She won't stop till she has satisfied her doubts. My guess is that because she herself is quite capable of doing stuff that makes her an object of suspicion, she knows how important snooping can be. When it comes to jealousy, this woman can get extremely jealous when provoked, and provoking her is not a difficult job. She needs to have all the things that others have, and this covetous nature makes her go green quite often. She can display equal amount of jealousy when in love, but here it comes with a blazing streak of revenge too. She can get vengeful when jealous and won't rest till she has paid back in the same coin. Dishonesty and infidelity. The passive Sagittarian is a loyal being and will prefer sticking to one partner. While she may enjoy looking elsewhere, that too occasionally, she is not capable of committing adultery. While this is also largely true of the aggressive Sagittarian girl. It's better not to try her on this front. Like Oscar Wilde said, I can resist anything but temptation. So is the case with some Sagittarian ladies. This is purely my observation, but a small percentage of Sagittarian women are either bisexual or lesbians and extremely adventurous on this subject. Hardships. Hardships extract the best out of a passive Sagittarian woman. She knows how to handle it and take it with a pinch of salt. You can put your money on her when it comes to emerging out of a down and out situation. But this is not the case with the aggressive kind. Hardship can baffle her, make her ask, "Why me?" and bog her down. She wouldn't take the obvious path out of trouble, but will crib and whine about how bad things are and how they're heading for the worse. An aggressive Sagittarian female definitely needs an optimistic partner to get her to face hardships. Success and failure. A passive Sagittarian will prefer celebrating her success with family and close friends. She's a private kind of a person when it comes to sharing the fruits of her efforts. The aggressive type of Sagittarian female will be out telling the whole world about her success, even going to the extent of having it published. Just like hardships, the more assertive Sagittarian finds it difficult to make failures in the right spirit. If she fails in her endeavors, she is likely to get depressed and even blame others for it. The passive Sagittarian has the grace to accept failures and also the practical vision to evaluate her efforts as well as the mistakes of others. However, I would like to say something about both kinds of Sagittarius women. They are amazingly competent. When bogged down by failure, whether they take it gracefully or otherwise, they exhibit a phoenix-like quality, managing to rise above issues and move ahead. The only difference would be the time both kinds take in getting restarted and stepping up to the plate. Host. As a host, the passive Sagittarian girl scores higher than her assertive counterpart. The aggressive Sagittarius woman can sometimes be very casual in her approach as a host. She'll prefer hiring caterers and leaving preparations for the party to the hired help. The passive kind will take interest in every detail about her social do and see to it that everything is in place for her guests. But both are warm hosts and make sure that their guests are well taken care of. The Sagittarius woman is known for her love for a good laugh, and she will keep her guests entertained with friendly banter and lively anecdotes. Guest. As a guest, the passive Sagittarian will appreciate the efforts, whether good or bad, made by her host. She'll be sensitive towards other people's feelings and will not hesitate in dishing out a fake compliment to please her host. On the contrary, the aggressive Sagittarian won't praise a thing unless she's duly impressed. She'll be quite observant, and whether she's appreciative or critical of her host's efforts depends entirely on what has pleased or displeased her. How does she handle difficult situations? Quarrels or disagreements of any kind bring to fore the calculative thinking of an aggressive Sagittarian. She will patch up matters only if she is convinced of a mistake. Thereafter, she won't hesitate in apologizing too. But what she wants or expects from the person she's quarreled with will determine her next move. But once she's calmer, the aggressive Sagittarian will move forward quickly, forgiving and forgetting with a swift change of thoughts. Passive Sagittarian females will expect the other person to apologize. More often than not, they are easygoing and submissive, but in a quarrel-like situation, they expect others to take on the onus of resolving matters. She is not likely to forget someone else's blunder for a long time. Neither is she given to forgiving easily. This one will bear grudges till bones turn to dust. What is a characteristic weakness? Well. An aggressive Sagittarian woman and her acerbic tongue are seldom parted. And that, my dear friends, is also her characteristic weakness. She just doesn't know where to pull the plug. Her sharp tongue comes with her innate talent of hitting with where it hurts and creating unpleasant situations with family and friends. No wonder she is not so good at maintaining good relations. Apparently, the lady hasn't heard about cracks and chinaware. Now, with the passive kind of Sagittarian, it is her emotions that bring about her downfall. High-strung and sensitive, she's an easy victim of emotional blackmailing, especially if it comes from someone she loves. Is there more to her persona? A Sagittarius woman loves to travel. She's an adventurer at heart and not averse to taking risks as well. You are likely to find her hooting for plans of treks and hikes. This spirit of adventure will be seen in other areas of life such as work. Coupled with ambition, her explorer attitude makes her take up new ventures and set newer, more exciting goals. But when it comes to money, this woman is not as big an adventurer as she seems. Here is a woman who is shrewd in every sense of term and knows, both intuitively and with experience, which horse to bet on. She's an adventurer. Yes, she likes to take risks, but note it, her risks are calculated and her adventures are not life-threatening. This perpetual student also possesses the ability to learn. With her never-ending quest of knowledge, the things she wants to know are boundless. She will have questions and queries about everything, from science to spiritualism and from practical life to philosophy, absorbing information like a sponge. Her out-of-the-box thinking often keeps her ahead of the rest of the pack. With so much knowledge comes teaching. There is something of a teacher in her too, as she likes to distribute the abundant knowledge she has gathered from places, people, and events. She is also quite given to preaching without following. A Sagittarian girl is equipped with lots of charming persona. She is feminine to a great extent, getting an 8 on 10 from me on that. With her knowledge and aptitude to talk, she is quite good at making conversation, a skill that makes her a veritable candidate in the field of marketing. The only thing that mars her charisma is her need to opine about everything. She is also clever enough to camouflage her bluntness with a good dose of tact and tongue-in-cheek humor. Very often, her saucy remarks are filled with wit, and one can't help but laugh at them. Her sense of humor comes laced with a heavy dose of sarcasm. Scoring a 9 on 10 for her ironic humor, a Sagittarian girl knows exactly how to slash with her blunt tongue. She is also impulsive to some extent, but many a time her guarded nature stops her from going off a tangent. She is a rational thinker, an attribute that helps her to sort out things in a practical manner. Rarely will you find her mixing emotions with the realistic stuff. Although sentimental, 9 on 10, she knows the line where emotion should rest and pragmatism should take over. One trait in her nature which endorses rather vocally is independence. Be it money, emotions or household chores, a Sagittarian woman seeks to be independent. Whether she succeeds in doing so and all these fronts is a different story. But she tends to get into a controlling mode just to establish herself in her domain. Rarely will she bend her stance or give in to others. She would prefer and make others dance to her tune. People who make adjustments to suit her needs easily find themselves in her good books. How should one deal effectively with a Sagittarian woman? Here is a one-word mantra to enthrall a Sagittarius woman. Simplicity. This lady is a sucker for it. The assertive kind prefers a passive man whom she can dominate. If you look around you, within your family or set of friends, you are likely to find this to be true in 8 out of 10 cases. But in order to deal with her, you need to have an authoritative voice and personality. In a difficult situation, it would be advisable to give in just to make her feel victorious and then work things out later when she's calmer. To deal with a Sagittarian female is to deal with her tongue, the infamous razor-like instrument that stops at nothing. And by nothing, I mean decorum, respect and obedience. No amount of social rules will stop her from speaking her mind, and that too in the bluntest of terms. She is honest to the core and will keep throwing in your face statements at you. But at the same time, she has an undeniable charm which flushes out any negative ideas you may conjure up about her. So to manage her, it is necessary to tackle these diverse facets of her personality. How does she handle money matters? Money and how to manage it are the common factors binding the two types of Sagittarian women. Both are careful with their money and understand the values it holds. I am not implying here that a Sagittarian woman is stingy. She knows the advantages of saving for a rainy day, but is also prone to spending on little luxuries of life. Moreover, she is quite optimistic about her future and hence doesn't think too much before striking an expensive bargain. And this woman has self-respect, not to ask for a free meal, but she's shrewd enough to look for free deals and freebies. How is she on the professional front? At work, you'll find a Sagittarian woman self-motivated and quite resourceful. Although she can take and follow instructions to perfection, she prefers carving a niche for herself and devising her own way of working. A Sagittarian woman is hardworking and extremely competent. She likes challenges, and that coupled with her tendency to lose interest in things quickly, if she has something new to do every 6 to 8 months, she will turn out to be the most productive employee in the company. How is she in various relationship roles? As daughters, the Sagittarian females I've met are surprisingly self-disciplined and obedient, yet independent from a young age. But when they step in their teens, they turn demanding and rebellious just like most of us. Some might harbor the idea of breaking away from home and getting out of the shell, but the majority of them find themselves emotionally dependent on their parents. In a relationship, a Sagittarius woman can play multiple roles. She usually excels in her role as a girlfriend or a wife as well as a homemaker. As a mother, a Sagittarian female is a combination of a disciplinarian and a friend who lets her kids do whatever they want. A word of caution here about the aggressive Sagittarian. This lady can be quite a control freak, especially with people who share an emotional relationship with her. How is she when alone? The passive Sagittarian will utilize her time well when alone. She is likely to take up hobbies or passions, anything from art and cooking to dancing and yoga. The aggressive kind would be keen on getting out, making social plans, or planning expeditions. This is a must for her, otherwise her devilish mind will be up to all kinds of tricks. Naughty enough to give an imp a run for his money. How is she when in love? One thing that's unique about fire sign women is their need to have love in their life and their hyper-emotional state of being. Sagittarian women can appear to be over-friendly and casual, but the truth is that's just a facade. The only thing that can move them to the core is love. Although she may be deeply in love with you, yet she will shy away from commitments. This is because she values her freedom above everything else and naturally is doubtful of its continuance after a commitment. Secondly, she likes to be very sure of her feelings before she commits. She also needs to confirm that her boyfriend is much in love with her as she is, and she can dominate him to some extent. Once she is satisfied on these fronts, she will go all out to prove her love. If you are in love with a Sagittarian woman, Make sure you give her ample space. Space to be herself and to have sphere to rule. With her around you, you will never be short of intelligent conversation or romance. She also loves to laugh and cherishes bringing a smile to her partner's face. Just make sure you know a trick or two on handling her sharp tongue and opinionated nature. What does she look in her partner? The Sagittarius woman is very particular about choosing her partner. As I stated earlier, she isn't one to commit too easily. She'll be on the lookout for a partner who satisfies all counts of a yardstick ranging across emotional, spiritual, and physical compatibility. Brimming with ideas, yearning to be unleashed, this vivacious sign seeks a partner who reflects the same madness, the same thirst for knowledge, a penchant for indulging in the adventurous and a desire to explore the unknown. Nothing will delight a Sagittarian girlfriend more than having a boyfriend who makes travel plans with her. Being an incurable optimist, a majority of them are, the Sagittarius woman knows how to stay sunny side up even under the most trying situations, finding a thing or two to laugh about and alleviate darkened moods. She would go for a man who has a funny bone and uses it in a witty display of humor rather than buffoonery. I believe I've stressed enough on her fierce battle for freedom of space. She would thus want a mate who gives her unconditional love in the same passionate manner that she does, without cramping her space and style. While dating her, you should give her space. Try tying her down and she'll scurry off like a scared deer. The Sagittarian is a free spirit. She needs physical space, emotional liberty, and most importantly, freedom to do her will. This is one area where you will have to trust her. As she is prone to do whatever she pleases, it's always a good idea to have faith in her and believe that she won't do anything wrong. Moreover, being emotionally stable herself, she dislikes hypersensitive, emotionally needy people. Since I've already mentioned her love for freedom, it would be redundant to say that she hates possessiveness too. Dating a Sagittarian does not mean marrying her or even having an affair with her. That might take a long time to come. Dating is the first step, either towards a love relationship or simple friendship. The Sagittarian will always regard you as a friend, and from there on will start the journey of your love life with her. A Sagittarian woman looks for smartness in her date. You have to be as dashing as your conversation as you are with your appearance while dating her. If you are able to floor her with some stimulating conversation, intelligent repartee, and good laughs, it's the game, set and match for you. From wacky to sophisticated, she will accept all kinds of dating experiences, as long as they are fun. But you may have a hard time getting her to exit the friendship zone and enter the love arena. But believe me, it's worth all the effort. She is sweet and passionate and will show the best of her feminine sides once she is convinced of your love for her. As I mentioned earlier, she has a tendency to get bored easily. So be as innovative and original as you can while dating her. A creative dating idea coupled with an extraordinary gift is enough to floor her. Once your dating takes the right turn and your Sagittarian date is sure of your love, the next step will come like a lightning flash. The Sagittarian girl is passionate and physical intimacy is the obvious next step for her. She won't shy away from snuggling in your arms or giving you the coveted kiss, as she's sure to enjoy it as much as you do. Having entered the comfort zone with you, she'll become bold and dare to be open with her sexuality too. The passive kind may not necessarily be fit for the above trait. You can trust a Sagittarian woman in matters of the heart. Her love is for keeps, and once she's committed herself, she's not a fool to waste a relationship for meaningless flings and one-night stands. But her loyalty comes at a price, her want of freedom. If you are ready to keep her secure and happy in the knowledge of her freedom, she'll be at your side in the rain or shine, laughing at every weird idea and smiling at every adverse condition. This applies to both kinds of Sagittarius women. Compatibility quotient. Compatibility between two people depends on the seen as well as the unseen aspects of their personality. While it's obvious that Sagittarian girl is an adventure-seeking, pleasure-loving individual, it doesn't make her emotionally neutral. She has her own set of fairies to please and demons to fight. To be compatible with her means much more than just sharing a good laugh. Let's find out more about Sagittarian women in her compatibility with men on the zodiac. Sagittarian woman and Aries man. 7 on 10. The Arian has enough intelligence and passion to impress the Sagittarian. Moreover, both share a common love for adventure and travel and have a good sense of humor too. Although their personality traits are attuned to each other, their blunt tongues might be health hazard for their long-term relationship. Taurus man, 5.5 on 10. These two may have hard time adjusting with each other. The Sagittarian spirit will not accept the bossiness of the Taurian man unless he's the passive kind, where she can boss him around. His possessiveness will also stop her from exercising free will. His stubborn and inflexible stand on most things can make her lose patience and very likely her head too. If she meets the passive kind who lets her be for who she is, it might just work well for both. Gemini man, 8 on 10. Difference for each other can make a world of a difference to this relationship. Both are extroverts and social beings who love to party. While the Sagittarian also needs security of a sound home, the Gemini needs the mature love of an understanding woman. If both are able to adjust with each other on these aspects, this relationship can go places. Cancer man, 5 out of 10. This relationship calls for a lot of compromises. The Sagittarian will be adverse to the Cancerian hypersensitivity, while he will find her adventurous nature a bit too much to take. But if they are able to gauge each other's innate traits and make adjustments accordingly, a successful alliance can be formed. Leo man, 7 on 10. Just like the Arian, the Sagittarian shares a lot with the Leo man. But the bone of contention here would be the word attention. While the Leo man wants absolute attention, the Sagittarian desires it in a covert way. If both are able to handle their love of attention, this relationship can work wonderfully. Virgo man, 6 on 10. Although a love match between these two can work well, there are certain basic differences that might mar a long-term relationship. The conservative Virgo man would need to get used to the wild Sagittarian nature, and the outspoken Sagittarian girl would need to understand the Virgo's reserved personality. Libra man, 8 on 10. He will love her spontaneity and outgoing nature. This relationship can be full of passion and romance. There is also likely to be great chemistry between these two. With a little bit of understanding, they can iron out differences and it would be smooth sailing for them thereon. Scorpio man, 4 on 10. This match is too unstable to eke out in the long run. Your outgoing and free-spirited nature is too much for the possessive Scorpio to handle. She in turn will find him too interfering and dominating. Sagittarius man, 9 on 10. Both the archers have their arrows pointed in the right direction. The Sagittarian woman shares a lot in common with her male counterpart. Adventurous, fun-loving, and optimistic. They would get along like a house on fire. However, one of them must have his or her foot firmly grounded to avoid waywardness and frivolity. Capricorn man, 4 on 10. It won't be easy once courtship is over. The Capricornian will be irked by the Sagittarian love for the outdoors and she will find his emotional needs difficult to fathom. For a successful relationship, both will need to accept the essential differences in their traits and learn to live with it. Aquarius man, 9.5 on 10. This relationship rocks. Passion and romance it definitely has, but added to that is limited emotional dependence and possessiveness. Since each loves her own freedom, they would appreciate it in the others too. Pisces man, 4 on 10. Again, hypersensitivity can come in the way of their mutual understanding. The Piscean emotional needs will be thwarted by the Sagittarian, and she will never understand his spiritual depth either. Overall, a difficult relationship. Famous Sagittarius women personalities: Britney Spears, Dia Mirza, Tina Turner, Christina Aguilera, Monica Seles, Tyra Banks.